there's all these different systems throughout the organism that are contributing to memory and intelligence. It's like this is just another track that's happening, and of course, like I guess the traditional paradigm where DNA is, this what we would say, I guess, the software and the genetic information is the software, and then there's this kind of machine running the body is a bit different from the way you see things, which is more
Yeah.
hierarchically dispersed, I suppose.
I mean, so I would say it a little differently. And certainly, all those things are happening simultaneously. So there's bioelectrical events, there's biomechanical events, there's biochemical events. All those things are happening at the same time. But what's really important to ask is what is each layer doing, and what does each layer give us the opportunity to do? So when you target the bioelectrics, or when you target the biochemistry or the genetics, what does that allow you to do? And I think I would argue, and I have argued that what the genome is actually not the software. I think what the genome does is actually nail down the hardware. I think the genome tells every single cell what proteins it gets to have. And so from that perspective, what the genome is giving you is a specification of the lowest level hardware.
Mm.
Now, as we know from working with computer technology, you can do a lot by manipulating the hardware. But why do we? And this is kind of a silly example I use all the time. When you're on your laptop and you want to switch from Microsoft Word to Photoshop, you don't get out your soldering iron and start rewiring. Now, why don't you do that, right? You could, and in the 50s, when I give a talk, I have this picture of what programming looked like in the 40s and 50s. And there's this woman, and she's literally like moving wires around, right? That's what reprogramming looked like. You could do that, but why don't we do that anymore? Because it's brutally difficult.
Mm.
Because making system level changes by manipulating things at the lowest level of your machine, of the hardware, is super hard, right? It's just incredibly hard, and that's not how evolution does it, and either. And so, what one thing, and we can get into this. I think that what one of the nice things that this bioelectrical level of control gives you is it actually gives you control over some of the really important physiological software that deals with large scale concepts, like the size of certain organs, the shape of certain organs, the positioning, how many heads do you have, like that kind of a thing. And therefore, when you interact with that layer, you get to program top down. It's almost as if it's almost as if you were working in a higher level language that doesn't require you to understand, well, gee, I'm programming on this thing of copper and silicon and aluminum and God knows what else is in there. You don't need to know all of that, because you have access to these higher level controls.